All right, future barristers, welcome. If you're deep in prep for the Queensland bar exam, you already know that procedure isn't just boring rules, it's the whole ball game. Today, we are going to do a masterclass on one of the absolute clutch players, Uniform Civil Procedure Rule 376. Let's dive right in.
So, picture this. You're in the exam, the clock is ticking, and you get a problem question. Your client has a fantastic case, but, oh no, you spot it. The limitation period is up. You desperately need to amend the pleadings, but time has run out. Is that it? Is the case completely done for? Well, not so fast.
And this, right here, is where you get to shine. This is where you pull out your secret weapon, Rule 376 of the UCPR. I want you to think of this rule as your absolute lifeline. It's the specific, powerful tool that lets you amend a claim even after a limitation period has expired. Honestly, knowing this rule inside and out is not optional for the exam. It's essential.
So, here's our battle plan. First, we'll tackle the gateway. That's Rule 376, Sub-Rule 1. You have to get through this first. Then we'll look at the simpler stuff, fixing mistakes with parties under Sub-Rules 2 and 3. After that, we hit the big one, the main event, adding brand new causes of action with Sub-Rule 4. And that's where we're going to really break down the famous same story test. And to wrap it all up, I'm giving you a 5-step checklist you can literally take right into that exam room in your head. Okay, first things first. Before you can even think about using the cool parts of this rule, you have to get past the bouncer at the door. And that bouncer is Rule 376, Sub-Rule 1. So the very first question you ask yourself in any exam scenario is this: does Rule 376 even apply here? So Rule 376, Sub-Rule 1, lays out 3 conditions. It's like a 3-part lock you have to open. Number 1, you are actually asking the court for permission, that's what we call leave, to make an amendment. Easy enough. Number 2, the change you want to make has to be one of the specific types listed in Sub-Rules 2, 3, or 4. And number 3, this is the big one. A limitation period was still alive and kicking when the case started, but it has now officially expired. You've got to tick all 3 boxes or the gate stays shut.
And this is super useful because it shows you what the rule can't do. If the change you want to make isn't about fixing a party's name or changing their legal capacity or adding a new cause of action, then Rule 376 is just the wrong tool for the job. It's that simple. A great example of this is the case of Hodgson v. State of Queensland, where the court basically said, look, you don't even need to be asking for leave under this rule because what you're trying to do doesn't fit into any of these specific boxes. Okay, so let's assume you've made it through the gateway of Rule 376-1. Awesome. Now let's look at the first couple of things you can do, fixing up simple mistakes about who the parties are. And for that, we're looking at Rule 376, Sub-Rules 2 and 3.
Now, let's put these two side by side, because it's crucial you don't mix them up. For correcting a name, that's Rule 376, Sub-Rule 2, the court is looking for a genuine mistake. Think of it like fixing a typo, what we call a mere misnomer. It can't have been misleading. But for changing a party's capacity, that's Rule 376, Sub-Rule 3, the test is totally different. The question there is, could that person have sued in this new capacity from day one? The classic example is someone suing in their own name when they really should have been suing as the executor of a will.
So what on earth is a misnomer under Rule 376-2?
Well, the Gregoric case gave us this brilliant practical test. I love this. The judge asks if the person who got the court documents read them. Would they look at it and say, oh, of course, this is for me. They've just spelled my name wrong. If the answer to that is a clear yes, then you've probably got a mere misnomer and you're good to go.
All right, let's get to it. The main event. This is the part of the rule that is argued about the most, written about the most, and, you guessed it, the part that is absolute gold for a bar exam question. We're talking about adding a completely new cause of action, all under the power of Rule 376, Sub-Rule 4.
Okay, listen closely. Rule 376, Sub-Rule 4 has 2 key parts, 2 hurdles you have to clear. First, the court has to think that giving you permission is appropriate. This is a discretionary thing. It's where the court thinks about fairness, prejudice, delays, that sort of thing. But it's the second part that's the real battleground. The new cause of action has to arise out of the same facts or substantially the same facts as the original claim. This little phrase is where all the action is. Now, thankfully, the Court of Appeal in a case called Thomas v. State of Queensland gave us the perfect playbook. They laid out a 3-step analysis for any application under Rule 376, Sub-Rule 4. For your exam, you need to walk through these 3 questions in this order. 1. Is this actually a new cause of action? 2. Does it come from substantially the same facts? And 3. All things considered, is it appropriate to let you do it?
Let's really drill down on that second question, because it really is the heart of the whole thing. It's the multi-million-dollar question in any Rule 3764 argument. How does a judge decide if a new claim comes from substantially the same facts? Well, over time, the courts have boiled this down into something we can call the same story test.
And that brings us to this absolute gem of a quote from Droncini v. Barry. This is pure gold. Write this down. The test is not whether the facts are 100% identical. The real question is whether the new claim is part of substantially the same story. This is brilliant because it means you can add new details. You can even shift the focus a bit, as long as the fundamental narrative, the core story of what happened, remains the same.
The court in Thomas then gave us a bit more guidance on how to apply this same story idea. They said it's not a microscopic fact-by-fact analysis. You don't need to get out a magnifying glass. Instead, it's a fairly broad brush comparison. So the idea is to step back, look at the big picture and ask, are we still fundamentally talking about the same incident, the same grievance, even if we're putting a new legal label on it?
Let's see how this works in the real world. In an Allenor v. Doran, a worker was injured lifting something. Later, they wanted to amend their claim to add a second lifting injury from that same day. The court said, yep, that works. It's all part of a single story, getting hurt from lifting things at work. Now contrast that with Wolf v. Queensland. The original claim was about an injury from bumps, welts on a road surface. The new claim was about bad drainage under the road. The court said, no way. That's a quite different breach of duty. It's a totally different story that requires a whole new set of facts. See the difference?
Whew. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. But now, the best part. Let's boil all of this down into a simple, practical checklist you can use to absolutely nail any Rule 376 problem that they throw at you in that exam.
Here we go. Step 1. Always start at the gateway. Does Rule 376 Subrule 1 even apply on the facts? Step 2. Identify your species of amendment. Are we fixing a party mistake under Subrule 2 or 3? Or are we going for the big one, a new cause of action under Subrule 4? Step 3. If it is Subrule 4, you must apply that three-step analysis from the Thomas case. No shortcuts. Step 4. This is where you argue. Use the case law, use the same story test to convince the marker. And Step 5. Bring it home. Conclude on whether it is appropriate for the court to grant leave, weighing everything up.
And there you have it, a deep dive into the nuts and bolts of UCPR Rule 36. And look, this is not just some boring academic rule. This is a real-world tool you will actually use. So let me leave you with this final thought. When you're on your feet in court one day, and your opponent jumps up to object to your late amendment, are you going to be ready to stand up, look the judge in the eye, and confidently tell them why, despite everything, it's still the same story?